Hi everyone. Now we finished the mattress, the vertical mattress suture. Now we're going to demonstrate the deep vertical mattress as well as a continuous suture. Right? The deep vertical mattress is used to stabilize membranes if you are going to do some grafting. Right now, for the purpose of demonstration, we'll use a little piece of paper as a membrane, and then this will show you how to stabilize the membrane using a deep vertical mattress suture. Here I've done a long incision on the model, and this long incision, as you can see, it is quite long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend that I'm grafting this area and I'm putting a membrane here, and then do the vertical mattress, deep vertical mattress, to stabilize my membrane. So let's just get a little piece of cardboard and pretend that this is my membrane. This is my membrane there, rounded edges, right, as you can see, rounded edges. Right, around all the edges, and then I'm going to put it around there. Now, when you put the membrane in, right, you should be putting it in using a tissue forceps, obviously, tissue forceps, and you must have hydrated the membrane to stop it, to make it easy to handle. So there's my membrane here, right? Okay, so I've put the membrane there. That creates a pouch for your grafting material. So you use membrane, put the membrane in, and then, let me just move this, and then you put your grafting material, okay? Now, once you've done that, you need to figure out whether there's enough tissue to close, or, because you've increased the volume, or you need to do something to release that tissue. And what you do is you just use a clean, a fresh blade, right, and you go down to the depth, right, and very gently just do a scoring of the periosteum down the bottom here, right, and while you're pulling onto the flap, and that will release it and will give you some pliability to close, to suture without tension, right? So anyway, so now we have put the membrane in, right, so over, and we'll put the grafting material. Now we gently tuck the membrane under your palatal end of the flap. So you pull it like this and just tuck it under like that. So when you tuck it under, right, it becomes stable, right, for you to suture over. Okay, so you tuck it under. Now I'll just show you again, right? So you are tucking it under the palatal part of the flap like this, right, and there it becomes quite stable. It won't move about. Okay, sometimes if I can tuck it under the flap like this and it doesn't move about, I don't bother with the vertical mattress, but for extra security you need to use that. And the deep vertical mattress suture use a resorbable suture material for. Okay, so there we have the membrane in place. Now we start, as a deep vertical mattress means, it starts with the we did the vertical mattress here, in here, out there, back again, and out here, right? We'll do the same, but we'll start at the depth of the sulcus. So the depth of the sulcus round here, and to do that, right, you've got to have your nurse helping you. You've got to have the nurse helping by putting an instrument, and this instrument could be any curved instrument, like this, for example, here, right? And while you're putting your needle in, right, you're not actually going to catch onto the membrane that you've just put in, right? Okay, so this here is going to direct the needle up, right? Okay, so there we go. So that's the first. And always turn the needle along its curve. So that's number one. Okay, number two, again you go into the palatal end. Okay, now over the membrane, right, again you then need to put an instrument or the same instrument onto the membrane here so that you don't catch it, right, a small instrument across, right, and then there you go. Okay, and then that's the first one. So as you can see, it went across the membrane like that. Now I'm going to go slightly above my exit, right, just slightly above my exit, right, like so. And again, right, again I'm gonna turn the needle that way, so hold it away from its arch, right, hold this away, right, so that we don't get anything tangled up, and then I'm going to just turn it very gently, right, there. And then I have to put an instrument on the other side so that I don't actually catch the membrane with the tip of the needle, right. As you can see, I'm turning it in, right. Okay, so there we go. So that's number 3, step number 3. So step number 1, depth of the sulcus, as you can see here, right, depth of the sulcus there, right, okay, depth of the sulcus, over the membrane, right, out this way, then in again. Then I'm going to finish off by putting pushing the needle above my first entrance, above number 1. Okay, yep. So in this way I'm just going to hold with a tissue forceps, right, stabilize the membrane just above, and then go like that. Okay, right, move everything out of the way, right, and then pull on this, move this out of the way as well, right, pull on this. Now you have to stabilize your flap, right, like that, while you're pulling. And now, as you can see, we've got 2 threads here, right, 2 ends of the thread over the membrane, as you can see, right, and that is holding the membrane down quite well. Then you tie your knot over here. Okay, so you tie a knot over here. Okay, 3, 2, 1, or 2, 1, 1. Okay, right. So this is the deep vertical mattress suture. Okay, thank you very much. Now we're going to do the continuous suture. So you've done this once here. If your incision is quite long and the membrane is large, you can choose to do one vertical mattress here and another vertical mattress around here. Okay, just to stabilize the membrane from both ends. Okay, now I'm going to pull that thread out of the way, and then we're going to demonstrate the continuous suture. Right, so get the membrane out, right, and then do the continuous suture. The continuous suture is a good suture for long flaps. However, you have to make sure that your knots are very, very stable, or else, because it's a continuous mattress, it's continuous suture, continuous locking suture, and this continuous suture, if one end is undone, there is a risk that the rest of it will be undone. So you start by doing just a normal interrupted suture on one end, right? So there we go, right. No, I don't like that bite. There we go, right. So that's interrupted, right. Again, do it this way, pull, right, and then we're going to do the second one, right. Let's try to do this as quick as possible, right. Okay, just a normal interrupted suture. Right, there we go, right. Again, round the curve of the needle and push the needle if you want, right, and then bring it out. Then do your usual knot, right. In this situation, I'm going to do 2. Right. 1 and 1. Okay, so we've got now the first knot. So this here, right, what you do in this situation is you only cut part of this, okay, not all of it, part of it, right, and leave that long as it is, right. Okay, so now what I'm going to do now is I am going to use the thread to do the whole suture, right, okay, without cutting. I'll cut near the end. So what we do here is, okay, go from one side, just space them evenly, let's say about 2-3 millimeters apart, and then, okay, one here, right, I'm going to do it in one go, and go in, okay, so in, right, and then you pull that. Don't pull it all the way, because you'll have a loop here, and see that loop here, that loop, right, okay, this loop here. I'm gonna put the needle through the loop, okay, needle through the loop, okay, and then pull. And what happens is it locks this in place. You can see there, okay, there, and make sure that this is tight, right, so you hold it tight with your finger like that while you go back there again. So as you are going with the needle in, right, okay, you are keeping the tail tight. This is the tail, this is the tail here, right, keep it tight. So you pull on it, right, while you go with the needle in, right, and into the other side, okay, right, again you have to do it perpendicular and then go with the, right, see what I'm doing here, I'm keeping this tight, right, okay, right, and you can actually twist this if you want, right, or if you don't, you don't, right, put this through the loop, right, and pull really quickly, okay, and what happens then is you create a knot here, right, and again, right, keep the tail tight and you're ready to go again. Alright, so there we are, keep that tail tight, real tight, okay, go again. Alright, we'll do it in 2 goes here. Alright. Keep this tight. Okay, so there we go. Right, so now we've got the loop again. You can twist it if you want and put the needle through the loop, right, and then pull. Right, okay, and keep the knots, all the knots, on one side of the flap, and preferably the buckle side. Now we're going to finish off by the last one. Now, how am I going to create the last knot? Just to close it up, keep the tail tight again, right, and then go in the corner, right, so you're starting in the corner and finishing with the corner, right. I sometimes, what I do is I suture the corners with just a normal interrupted suture, and then on either side, right, and cut them, and then go in the middle between them with the continuous suture. In this way the flap is not going to shift while I'm suturing it, but here it's just a demonstration. So now we're pulling the needle and we've got a loop, right, so there's the loop here, right, okay, that's the loop, right, I'm gonna go there, that's the loop here, right, can you see it, right, now I'm pulling the needle, right, just shortening the loop as much as I can, because this here I'm not going to use it I'm not going to put the needle through it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as my short end, right? So I'll go 1, 2, right? Okay, and what I'll do here is I'll keep this nice and tight like that, and then just pull the thread over, right, to create the knot, right? There we are. Created my first knot, right? Okay, and then, so there you go. That's very loose. So here we go. So that's the first knot here, right? So that I'm using this as the short end of the thread, okay, right? And then 2, 1, 2, right? Okay, so that's 2, right? 1, again, just use this as your short end, right? Right, okay. Okay, and 1 over again, right? Okay. So this is the continuous suture. This keeps moving, but this is a continuous suture. You get the idea, okay? This is a bit loose here. It's because I needed to tighten it a bit more, and it tangled here, as you could see, right? If this happens, don't worry. It's not a disaster. You can actually put one interrupted suture over this one here, right, to hold it in place. But as you can see, it's a neat suture if you do it correctly, and it does the job. Okay, for long flaps, right? Instead of you having to, you can do a few interrupted ones if you want. But this is a continuous suture for demonstration. Okay, so that's it. So we did deep mattress and we did the continuous suture. Thank you very much. And yes, to cut, you cut it as if this is your short end and the long end here, and you just cut them that way. Okay, and that's it. Okay, thank you very much.